Hi guys, and welcome to an Ace Tanker for the Conqueror. This was my first Ace Tanker in the tank, and it was a game played off stream, so it's the first time you guys will have seen this. I did play a couple of days later on stream, again in the Conqueror, again on this map from the south, and I ended up picking up another Ace Tanker in a game that was almost identical, and I'll probably bring that to you at a later stage, but we're continuing on with my British week. You'll have seen a lot of British tanks on the channel this week, and I did promise you some low tiers, and I promised you some high tiers, so this is going to be a high tier Ace Tanker in a British tank, and we are here on Fiery Salient. It's a pretty close game. It's a 50-50 game, basically. I'm top tier, and I'm platooned with Rakuz, who's also in his Conqueror. The Conqueror is a tank that's taken me a while to get used to. It's a very, very different beast to the Carnarvon at tier 8. Oh, ran into the back of the IS, apologies. But yeah, Conqueror was a big shock to me because I really do enjoy the Carnarvon. I kept the Carnarvon, played it a lot like a mobile American tank, using it hull down, using its really good gun depression. The shock I had with the Conqueror was that the armor, even though it's a tier 9, seems even worse than it does on the Carnarvon. The turret armor is very easily penetrated. The hull armor is very poor, and the ammo racks in front as per usual, so you end up getting ammo racked in the Conqueror a lot, so the armor really isn't very good. The major difference other than that I found for the Conqueror from the Carnarvon was the fact that it has quite poor gun depression. I mean, the gun depression is okay on it, it's 7 degrees, but it's a lot less than the ooh, bad shot there. It's a lot less than it was on the Carnarvon, so I tended to play the Carnarvon a lot like American tanks. Go hull down, use its gun depression. Get a nice shot into that AMX-12T. And a Jagdtiger 88 finishes them off. So basically, yeah, Conqueror was a big difference for me. Big tank shock. You really do need to play it a lot differently. It's a sniper, it's got a great gun. I'm using the final gun on the tank. Just pop up, see if we can get a shot into the Comet. There we go. But yeah, I'm using the final gun on it. It's 122mm, 259 alpha penetration with 400 alpha damage. It's a really nice final gun, but it's basically a support tank. You really don't want to play the Conqueror on the front line unless you're top tier. But anyway, we're just working here, and I'm pushing forward because my team are being very defensive. If you notice my team, they're all camping at the back of the map along the K-line, and they've all pushed up the hill. So I'm pretty much the only tank here in the middle at the moment. So I'm not only trying to support the guys on the hill, but I'm also trying to spot tanks in the middle, and I'm going to try and support the 2 line. And this is why I actually... oh, critical hit in the Centurion, but no damage. I love this position. I go into this position a lot if I'm in a tank with a decent gun and halfway decent penetration, because you can support the entire map from the center of the map here. So I can do work on pretty much every flank. Bad shot in the Centurion, he reversed just as I fired. But really, this is a perfect position for the Conqueror, simply because you can get spots, you can do a lot of support. So the hill has been won. I didn't really need to support the hill all that much, but now I'm in a perfect position to support the tanks on the 1-2 lines. And I really haven't done a lot. Actually, my biggest contribution to the game so far has been my spotting. I've been spotting a lot of tanks. So nice shot into the AMX 1390. Still a lot of dangerous tanks and TDs over on the 1-2 lines. And there's a Jagdtiger to my right, and I finally notice him. But I do like this position, and as I say, a couple of days later on stream, I was in the Conqueror again. I ended up on this map in exactly the same scenario. Did pretty much the exact same thing. Oh, just took 2 hits. Maybe I was a little bit greedy going for that shot in the 704, but he's a tier 9 tank, and I really did want to put him under pressure. So a little bit of a kill steal on that Pershing, only 168 damage, but it's my first kill of the game. So the enemy team are still pushing up the 1-2 lines. They've got a lot of tanks on the 1-2 lines, but as I say, I like this position because I can support the 1-2 lines. Our team are trying to cap. My gun is starting to let me down. I don't have much to aim at, but the gun on the Conqueror is pretty good. It is fairly accurate, and unfortunately, my shots just aren't going in. So, thankfully the enemy team are defending their cap. They've taken out 1 capper. And we're just continuing to work. Here we go. That's kill number 2. Nice damage on that IS-8. 1127 damage done to him. So the Object 704 is my next target, and unfortunately that shot goes a little bit high. Our team are still capping, but the enemy team actually did manage to reset the cap, so that was nice. Got a blind kill on the Leopard PTA. Going to work on this object again, and someone else takes him out. It was Riku's taking him out in his Conqueror. So I'm on 3 kills. Only 1 enemy tank left, T-30. So again, get a nice shot into the T-30 and my team take him out. So for a 50-50 game, this was a very comprehensive victory. So the game might not have been that exciting, and it certainly didn't look as if I had a fantastic game, but it was an ace tanker, and I also picked up high caliber and Confederate. I finished top on XP with 1386 and did 4,245 damage. So a couple of my blind shots did go in, and I did pick up 3 kills, but still, I'm kind of surprised that amount of damage and that number of kills actually earned this much XP, but the next plate is going to explain it. You see, I also picked up 5,125 assistance damage. So, decent damage game, but I could do better. Shots fired. Gun was a little bit inaccurate for me, it let me down, so 18 shots fired, 13 hits, 12 penetrations. Not a great performance from the gun. Nice amount of damage, but still I wouldn't have thought it was ace tanker standards, but because of the position, because of how strong and how important it is to get a tank into that position on Prokhorovka, or Fiery Salient as that version was called, I ended up spotting 2, damaging 9, destroying 3, but getting 5,125 assistance damage. It's a really strong position, and if you've got tanks on the hill, if you've got tanks on the 1-2 lines, you really do need someone just in the center of the map to be able to cover both flanks and do a little bit of spotting. And it worked out for me. Worked out really well. And it also worked out a couple of days later when I did exactly the same thing in the Conqueror and picked up another ace tanker. But I earned 59,000 credits for that game, 2,079 XP with a premium account. It was my first tank game of the day. Earned some sort of bonus 1558 XP, which left me on a very nice 5,716 XP. So that was my very first ace tanker in the Conqueror, and as I say, it took me a while to get used to this tank. You really can't play it that aggressively, and even when you're top tier, a lot of lower tier tanks are going to have no problems penning you and causing you problems. But it is a great support tank. It is a decent sniper, even though the gun let me down, and it may not have been the most exciting of games, but it was still a pretty good game. And there we go. That's a high tier ace tanker for British Week on my channel. Hope you enjoyed the replay, and I'll see you next time.